Hello everyone, this is Nick Perry of Schaeffer's Investment Research with your chart slideshow for Friday, February 16th. Today I'm back with my weekly check of the broad market indices. In last week's chart slideshow, I focused on two things. Basically that the uptrends were still intact and that it was a boring week. And looking back, that was fairly interesting to say because last week ended up not being boring. We saw a late day sell-off on Friday that hit after I'd posted these charts. Basically the week had been a snore up until that point, and then we finally saw some excitement, but I had already posted this. Aside from the boring aspect, what I did talk about was basically support. We'd seen a breakout, and I talked about support, right there on the SPX and there on the Dow. Basically, it was the side of these previous peaks right here, saying that would offer short-term support, while these were the bigger term pictures to watch, levels to watch. The comp, we basically talked about how it had yet to break out, and which is basically just in a consolidation like that. And the rut, we had basically been focusing on the breakout, and I said that the top of that former range should be support. So let's go ahead and turn to this week's charts, and we can see not only this week's charts, but how Friday eventually played out. Okay, here you can see the pullbacks that happened late Friday. Basically, on the SPX, it came right down to that area we were talking about, right near the site of that former peak right there. Friday we saw a sell-off. Monday we saw a little bit of a dip, but it's more or less contained there. Same thing on the Dow, a slight dip below depending on how you measure that, but it's more or less right at those short-term support, and we stayed well above the longer-term support here. The comp, we saw a little bit of a dip, but actually it was contained at the 50-day moving average right here, and the comp is now sort of just below those peaks right there, the peak from earlier this year. And as far as the rut goes, it did pull back, but remained above that support zone there. It's still sitting above the 50-day moving average. As far as overall takeaways, I would say the action on the SPX and the Dow continues to be constructive. If you sort of just in broad terms look at the SPX, we had the uptrend here, and then you had a bit of a consolidation, and now it looks like we're starting to see a little bit of a breakout and a resumption of the uptrend. Support still sits right around here. On the Dow, it's depending on how you define it, you may not even call this a consolidation. We had this little bit of an uptrend here, and now we've got slightly less upward sloping uptrend here, but overall it's still heading higher and still above support. The comp, nothing's really changed here. We've got that peak here as potential resistance. We've got this support here. A couple of weeks ago I talked about how it remained above the support in this area and called that a little bit of an air pocket and said that that was encouraging. When you look at it now, it is making higher lows. It's still in the consolidation, but it looks like it's trying to bump up here. So basically right now you had the uptrend. We're still in the consolidation at this point. The rut, basically uptrend, consolidation. Now it looks like we're starting to see an uptrend on there. This 800 level is something to keep in mind. That's the top of this former range here. The 50-day moving average is moving up into that area, so that's something to keep in mind. Big picture overview. Uptrends remain intact. Nothing really surprising there. We did see a bit of a pullback, but buyers were quick to step in, which has been the nature of this trend. So far, nothing seems to be changing on that front. So that wraps up my thoughts for this week. But as always, stay tuned to the blog for further updates.